Shalom. Call Haloyam La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachat Kodash. Rakta Yahweh, Rakta Yahweh Shai, Rakta Rachat Kodash, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachat Kodash. Shalom and double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elder bishops and the elders in the Akim and the Akwath of the hopeful elect. So you say Shalom. Just want to go into a quick video entitled Charles Barkley. Of course, it's exhausting being black in our captivity, because it's going to be, like the scriptures say, the fate of man is between the hand of Jacob and the heel of Esau. So whoever's on top, they're going to be at rest. And the nation and the nation at the bottom, whoever lose between Esau and Jacob, is going to be, they're going to be living an exhausted life. He makes no account of our labor, spoken of in Acts chapter 9, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. But there's a quick video. I was watching the quote unquote Club Shay Shay interview with Shannon Sharp with Charles Barkley, right? Today it released, so I was watching it, just as I'm out here working. And so Charles had made a comment. He answered in a particular way, and the spirit, caught it and jumped on me and that's why I'm making this lesson today. So he said, being black is exhausting. Yeah, that's because this is not our rest. So I'm gonna play the clip from the video here in a second. But I want to do this fair use disclaimer for YouTube, in case they try to copyright strike the video. But there's a law in place where people can use different videos, for educational purposes. And that's what I'm using it for right now, just for edifying, for the hopeful, for the 1/3 body, for the body. So right here says, fair use disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So this is only for teaching and educational purposes. I'm not using this for this is a non-profit video. I'm not making any money off of it. I'm not trying to monetize the video or monetize this channel. I can give a damn about that. This is about edifying for the elect, for the hopeful elect, in the name of Yahweh Shah. So we go ahead and get this video real quick. Go ahead and listen to this, get some precepts, and close out.
Charles, this is the first time in a very long time that people that's in our position have had to comment on the discourse sometimes that's what's going on in America.
Yes.
We see the Trayvon Martin. We see the George Floyd. We see what happened in Wisconsin. And now all of a sudden, you and I, we have to comment on that.
Yeah.
Where when you played and I played, politics, religion, orientation, we talked about that, maybe mentioned that in the locker room without the media or without the purview of the public hearing about it.
Yeah.
How do you navigate, knowing that you came from Alabama, knowing that what goes on in America, that sometimes it's racism, sometimes it's racist.
Yeah.
How do you navigate your conversation that you disseminate to the public?
That's a really good question, because I'm asked that sometime with my boys. The first thing is, it's exhausting being black.
Yes.
It's exhausting being black. Like, we're trying to live our lives, be successful. Then Trayvon Martin happened. We got to talk about it. Unfortunately, that was a really awful situation. Then we get back in our routine. Then George Floyd happened. We got to talk about it.
Correct.
I was talking to Sam Jackson one time. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to make a movie. They asked me after a year, nobody got nominated for an Oscar. So as a black person, something always coming up. For me personally is I said I have to like take a step back. Because the one thing you can't do is yell and scream.
Correct.
Because once you yell and scream, they're like, turn it off, turn it off. And I say, guys, let's have a serious conversation. But I need you to be, my girl Judge Judy, I'm a big Judge Judy fan. She always says, you're listening, but you're not hearing me.
Right.
I said, I need you to hear me. Don't listen to me, hear me. Those are two different things.
Listen to understand.
Yes. And I'm not, and I'm not mad at you, but I need you to understand this is happening. And it's just exhausting being black because every time you're trying to do your thing or just live your life, something racist or racial happens.
Right.
I try to do this one thing.
All right. And we heard it right there. Charles Barkley, he said that, every time he's trying to be successful, live his life, something comes up. So basically, they're the modern day Gates. They're the modern day leaders. They're the false teachers, the false leaders, that's leading our people. No other nation have what basketball players turn, commentators and as the leaders and as the voice of their nation, right? The spokesman for their nation. This is pure madness. That shows a nation, that right there alone shows how destroyed we are as a nation, because no other nation on earth have their athletes, their entertainers being the mouthpiece, speaking on the post and the rationale of their people, and to speak wisdom in terrible events. So that just shows how that right there, that and the women. You want to know how a nation, how in control and how orderly a nation is, and or if they're out of control and if they're destroyed, is look at their women. Our women are the biggest whores on the earth. So that shows you that we are a nation without any kind of structure and foundation. And yes, it is exhausting being black because this is not our place of rest. We'll go ahead. Let's see. This isn't meant to be our rest. When we got stuffed on cargo slave ships like sardines and brought to a land unwillingly, of course, that's a place that's not our rest. We got taken to a place to be the exact opposite of rest. That which is exhausting. So Romans, and he and you see Charles Barkley, he's not a leader. He just wants to live his life as an individual. These celebrities, they're wicked. They're selfish. They only care about themselves. They don't care about the nation as a whole, because he only wants to. All he cares about is being successful, and then going down his chronological life, his timeline, in success and riches and that peace and that rest. And then then you could tell that bothers him and all these other sellouts like Shannon Sharp that's interviewing him. It interrupts their heaven that they've created on the Titanic, right? When they have to talk about these racist events, because Esau has a perpetual hatred that will never end. So he will have to always speak about these things. But he only speaks about it because that's the unfortunate position that we're in as a nation on the bottom, and our oppressor chooses who our he chooses who our leaders are. He'll never choose a man of the Lord or a hopeful man of the Lord, like the elder apostles, a great millstone, and then elders and bishops on down, and men like myself, right? Other teachers, right? Because once that happens, then they'll realize, oh, we got to come back. But then 2/3, the Most High has blinded them anyway. So we'll get this right quick. Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it. That's the 1/3 elect. And the rest were blinded. The 2/3 of Israel have been blinded. And that's the Charles Barkleys, the Shannon Sharps, Stephen A. Smiths, the LeBron James, Anthony Davis's, and so forth and so on. So we go up to verse 4. But what saith the answer of Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So right there, that shows you Charles Barkley, he has bowed his knee to the image of Baal. And that's going into Satan, Baal is the sun god, that was originated by, who is supposed to be Nimrod, right? Because he was like in close workings and dealings with Satan to come up against the Most High, because that's why he had the spirit of Satan on him to try to build a Tower of Babel to go up into the heavens, So that's why the first day of the week in Babylon the Great is Sunday, which is Baal Day, Sun Worship Day. So the Charles Barkleys of the world, they have bowed their knee. But the 7,000 men is a complete number of men that goes into the 144,000 and the rest of the 130 elect of Israel that will never submit to this place and hope that, and look at this place as their rest, because this is not our rest. This is our place of chastening and punishment for being wicked, until the Most High redeem us. So we'll go to Isaiah 62 and verse 6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls. That's the 130 elect, beginning with the elders and teachers, the prophets. O Jerusalem, those are the true men of the Lord. O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. It's an exhausting thing to not hold your peace, when you're going nonstop. Yet ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. And that's what the elders, prophets, and teachers, that teach, that's what they're doing. They're not keeping their silence. They're teaching all the time, all hours of the day. Videos are going up day and night and throughout the four corners. Until the Most High, we're not here to rest. We're here to grind, to labor, and to toil until the Most High says, okay, that's enough. They had enough. They've awakened. They learned their lesson. They're doing their best. It's time to redeem them and go ahead and give them that. And it's His good pleasure to give us the kingdom of heaven, right? It's your Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom of heaven. I believe the Messiah said that. Yahweh Shai. So from there we'll go to Micah. These men that are rich in this world, they're useless, They're vain. They're not for us, they're for themselves and for their oppressor. That's why they're very careful in what they say, because they don't want to upset their master. We don't give a damn about that. We're trying to get out of here, because this is not our rest. Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. Because the women are polluted, the men, they're whoremongers, they adulterers, sleeping with other men's wives. This place is polluted spiritually, mentally, and physically with the whoredom, the adultery. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. And the ultimate sword is going into that, Revelation 16:2, that sword that a man received, that he will get, that discharging, that pus discharging sword from taking that grain of rice in their hand to buy and sell. That's the ultimate end, sword destruction, which will come with the thermonuclear fire of those that take it. Psalm 37 and 37. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright. And what's perfect? Psalm 19:7, the law. And behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. See, because Charles Barkley, he don't understand that we'll never be at rest in the land of our captivity, in the land of the serpent, the Edomites, so-called white race. That's why every time you try to go on. Every time he resettles back into his life and keeps on going and living and being successful, storing up his treasures on Babylon the Great on the Titanic, then that's why he always get hit. Then another event happened that he has to speak on, and that makes him uncomfortable. He don't want to do that, but he does it because he want to play like he love his people, But he hates his people, and he don't want anything to change because he made all of his money with the serpent. As scriptures say, what easier for a camel to, what does the Messiah say? It's easier for a camel to go through the needle of an eye of a needle, than for a rich man to make it into the kingdom of heaven. And so Charles Barkley, they have their consolation now, and they will receive their proper judgment, when the Messiah returns. So we'll go to. He don't understand that's the reason why we're in perpetual. We have a perpetual lack of peace over here in the land of our captivity. First, start with that. Understand that this is our captivity and not our home nation. Deuteronomy 28:15, and it's titled right here, Consequences of Disobedience. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So that's why we're under the curses. So when you're cursed, there's not going to be no rest. We're under the curses until the Messiah returns to alleviate us from those curses and from this fleshly body to receive those spiritual bodies. Let's see. Let's see. Because that's why the Trayvon Martins, the George Floyds, the Eric Garners, the Philando Castiles, the Sandra Blands, so forth and so on, right? That's why, we're not at rest. That proves that we're not at rest, because we won't be getting killed by our oppressor. Because that's not a symptom of blessings. That's a symptom of curses, and that's perpetual lack of peace and lack of rest. It's going to be exhausting underneath the cave beast. Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And this is why Ezekiel 35, we'll start at verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. We'll start at verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. So Seir, that's the mount of the Edomites, the so-called white race. That's the context of this chapter, talking about the Edomites, the so-called white race. Verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So that's Esau. He has a perpetual hatred toward the Israelites, and that's his twin brother. But two manner of people was in the womb of Rebekah, our foremother, right? One nation was stronger than the other. The Israelites are stronger than the Edomites, the so-called white race, and the Israelites, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians. And Esau, what did he say when he found out that Jacob came in there and got that blessing, got that that birthright blessing from Isaac? He said with subtlety or subtlety, Jacob. I'm roughly paraphrasing that. Jacob came and got the birthright, and then he said, the time of the mourning for his father is at hand, and after that he will slay his brother Jacob. And that's what they're doing. Our iniquity has an end now, but Esau, he has a perpetual hatred. So his hatred and his destruction and slaughtering of the Israelites is going to continue beyond that time frame which the Most High um, was going to chasten and punish us. So, so when you're underneath a oppressor that has a perpetual hatred, it will always be exhausting, until our enemy is out the way. So Zechariah 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And that's what happens with Trayvon Martins, the Philando Castiles, I believe, or what's that, Malcolm Brown. It's been so many. That's a good while back, you know. That's what happens a lot most times. They hold themselves not guilty after killing and slaughtering our brothers, right, and sisters. Hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them, and that's who it sold us on what those slave auction blocks. And they that sell them say, "Blessed be the Lord Yahweh in the name of Yahushai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not." You see, Esau, he's proud, and he hold himself not guilty, and then he says he's rich. He said, "What's somebody going to do to him for perverting judgment?" He said because he's rich, and their own shepherds, meaning our false leaders like the Charles Barkleys of the world, say that their own shepherds pity them not. Why? Because they only care about the money that the serpent is giving them, right? The trinkets, and it's destroyed their heart, and they're only they're a whore that only sell their allegiance for cheap trinkets. So Deuteronomy 28 and 25. The Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. And that goes into being killed. And that's the prophecy. And that's what's happening in Zechariah 11 and 5. That was a prophecy. We're going to be killed before our enemies. That's Esau, the slave patrol, aka the cops. The thug foot soldiers of the wicked elites of Esau Edom, so-called white man. Thou shalt go out one way against them. So meaning, you leave out your house, you going through your travels, you come across the cops, you see them, and then you want to maybe try to avoid them, Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And that's going into the 4 corners of the earth. We've been scattered. James 1 and 1. That's who the letters of the Gentiles, or the Israelites that became Gentiles, because they were scattered in the 4 corners of the earth throughout the 4 corners, and we were living as a heathen. And we're waking up to those letters today. We were living as Gentiles, and now we read the letters as Americans and as Chinese and wherever else we're scattered, right? And we awaken to the truth. First John 4 and 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, the Charles Barkleys of the world, the Shannon Sharps, but try the spirits whether they are of Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai. Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. See, he's false philosophizing, false prophesying. He's just speaking from his own wicked mind. Isaiah 8 and 20, He's not speaking according to the words of the Most High, the Bible, because there's no light in him. He's just freestyling from his own wicked, dark mind. Genesis 49 and verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion. And as an old lion, that's where we are now. At the end of this captivity, we're an old lion now. The tribe of Judah, animal for the tribe of Judah is the lion, and we're as an old lion now, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Because see, the Charles Barkleys and these evil, wicked, false leaders and entertainers of the Israelites, they just want to rest. They made their money, and now they just want to enjoy it. They don't want to hear nothing about any social issues, any kind of political issues. They just want to make their money and just live their life until they die, and that's a very pathetic life to live. It's not a life worth living, because when they die, they can't take it in the grave with them, right? They can't take it with them into their tomb, and it's all a vapor, a vain vanity life that they live, and it doesn't help the nation in any way. Any man not about his nation isn't worth two pennies, because it's all about furthering the nation and hoping for your nation to be saved, and not just worrying about yourself. That's a very selfish individual. There are no leaders of Israel. They're false leaders. Slacky. So Jeremiah 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is going up. And that's on two levels. As the scriptures say, there's two against two, one against the other. And there's two levels, the fleshly, the carnal level, and the spiritual level. So the carnal level is going to the gates. That was speaking about the thriving gates, the fish gate, I believe, where representing the commerce and the economy of the southern kingdom was languishing. And this was after the northern kingdom got destroyed as well. A couple hundred years before this, before the Babylonians took us down, the southern kingdom. They were black. So the gates, and then also the gates going into the spiritual gates, the leaders of our nation, that protects and is a defense and a hedge over the nation to protect against any heathen, that try to come up against us and try to destroy us. But our leaders sell us up a stream. They sell out for a couple of dollars, like the Charles Barkleys, and they only speak in generalities. They don't speak at the true core problem that's plaguing us. It's the Edomites, So yeah, that's going on. That's what's going on. The gates thereof languish. Let's go ahead. Let me see something. Yeah, let's get it in the NLT. Let's see. Judah wilts. Commerce at the city gates grinds to a halt, because a nation's strength, is about, is through their strength is through their economy, and the money flowing and the business, the commerce. All the people sit on the ground in mourning. So when you sit on the ground, meaning you're sitting out of a chair, and on the ground, the chair represents, you're on a throne, you're having a kingdom, a thriving kingdom. All the people sit on the ground in mourning, and a great city cries, and a great cry rises from Jerusalem. So see, that's what's going on. Let me see real quick for gates. Gate of entrance. So leaders are protecting the entrance. Don't let anything come in. Proper shepherds do not protect the flock, to protect the sheep, and don't allow wolves to come in. Gate of space inside gate, marketplace, public meeting place. You see, our leaders letting anyone in, letting all of the wolves of Esau Edom come in and devour the flock, the sheep, the Israelites. Instead of feeding the sheep, they're letting the sheep they're feeding the wool. They're feeding the sheep to the wolves. Esau Edom and the other heathen. Deuteronomy 28. And, the Messiah told Peter that 3 times, if you love me, feed my sheep. But the false leaders are not doing that. They're feeding the wolves they're feeding the sheep to the wolves, and that's a very egregious thing. And the Messiah, the Most High and the Messiah see that, and they're going to destroy these false servants, these false leaders. They're going to be destroyed. It's going to be a very ugly, brutal judgment that they receive for that. The Charles Barkleys and the Shannon Sharps, unless they repent, unless it's too late already for them. Deuteronomy 28:16. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall thy basket be. Slack. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. So basket, what you put in the basket, things that you store and you take. So our storehouse is empty. We don't have anything in reserves, and our store is empty. Because it's like we have a bank account filled with holes. When you put money in it, it's gone, right? So verse let's see, 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body that's going to your children. So generation after generation, we're going to be destroyed until the Most High redeems us. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land and the increase of thy kind. That's the cows, right? The cattle and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. So all the days we're going to be just cursed, and that's no rest. That's very exhausting, right? But that's our reasonable service to serve the Most High. It's all worth it in the end because we're not mortgaging our future like the Charles Barkleys of the world. Lamentations 4:17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. That's the Edomites, so-called white man. Verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. See, so Edom, he hunt our steps. And verse 21 shows you that, the context was talking about Esau, Edom. So he hunt our steps, That's his life purpose, is to always, he's a loser, Only a loser would have that life. His existence is to try to keep us down and come up with new ways to always keep us down. And he's not at rest either because he's always working to try to keep the Israelites down, but they can't do that. And that's why, Barkley hates us when we talk about these things because they only want to be in peace. It's like, why can't y'all just die in peace? Why can't y'all just accept everything and just try to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, It's a very foolish place in society. So Deuteronomy 28 and verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. That's, the Most High, he's the one that's going to get us out of this captivity. He's going to, that's Deuteronomy 28:68, that no man shall buy thee, aka redeem us out of this captivity. And this is the prophecy right here in verse 29, that no man's going to save us. Only the Messiah, the right arm of the Most High, when he sends Yahushua to return to redeem us. So it's going to be perpetual lack of peace. Verse 33, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. So we're only crushed here in Babylon the Great, right? We're oppressed and crushed because it's the hammer of the earth spoken of in Jeremiah. I believe it's Jeremiah. I think somewhere around the 50th chapter. The hammer of the earth, because he destroys everybody, chiefly the Israelites. Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. You see, because we're not leading anything, but the Charles Barkleys of the world think that this is our place to rest and be leaders. You know, you can't be a leader in captivity. Like here it is, we're not free as a nation, but you want to be a leader underneath the man that has his foot on our necks. It's pure madness and folly. Jeremiah 23. And verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that will raise unto David a righteous branch, that's Yahweh Shai. And a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. The southern and the northern kingdom are going to be back in the Holy Land and resting and relaxing. No more exhaustion. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. Verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. That's going to the Passover, right? Verse 8. But the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, that's North America, and from all countries whither I had driven them, and that's throughout the four corners of the earth that we've been scattered to. It's not hard to comprehend there. And they shall dwell in their own land. See, no man's going to redeem us, no man's going to buy us until the Most High does it himself when he sends his right arm, Yahweh Shai, who sits at his right hand right now, and then destroy our enemies, you know. Just like the ancient Egypt, because this is the modern day Egypt, as I went into the last video, Romans 9 and I think 22 or 17, somewhere around there, about the Most High doing the metaphor of Pharaoh, because the president of the United States is the modern day Pharaoh. And then after the Most High redeem us, and he's going to plant us back into our own land, and then that's when the exhaustion and the exhausting life here in captivity will end and have perpetual peace for eternity. Lord willing, we're of that number. So, Charles Barkley, of course, it's exhausting, quote unquote, being quote unquote black in our captivity, because this is our slavery, this is our punishment. There's no rest in punishment. So with that being said, hope this video is edifying. The water to Hakodash Basham Yahushai for another video. To the next video, I say, Shalom.